Hi, Mr. Jaffee. Andy Taylor here, Red Rock Roofing, where we stand for greatness. I am a senior project manager, and I'm going to do a quick roof inspection for you here. Normally, I start these videos from the street down here, but as you can see, my truck over there, and you do have a very specific shingle. So I think you know I'm definitely on your home. So the first thing that I want to point out is going to be your lack of drip edge flashing. Now, drip edge by code is a 2x2 inch L-shaped flange that essentially goes here 2 inches over the fascia and 2 inches back under the shingle. And that basically just encapsulates all the eaves and rakes and protects you from wind-driven rain, ice damming runoff, and ultimately water migration. So back when the home was built, that wasn't code, but now it's become code, so it will have to be put on. The next thing I want to point out is going to be the heat blistering that I'm finding on these shingles. Now, this is essentially going to be a triple laminate here. You can see that there's 3 different layers to these shingles, and not every single shingle is like that. I think it's every 2 or 3 that does it. But when you can see heat blistering holes that pop out, that's air that's stagnant in the below space, and it has to force its way through the shingle. To do that through a triple laminate means that it gets very, very hot in this space in here, and I think this is the garage. So you definitely have quite a bit of heat blistering on the roof. Next thing I want to point out is going to be the first thing an adjuster will look for when getting onto your roof to do a claim for insurance is called collateral damage. And that's going to simply be signs and indicators on any of your soft metals. I went over your rain cap here with a piece of chalk, so you can actually see that there was some pretty big hail here at one time. Now, once they verify there's been a storm, the next thing you're looking for is called spalding. Spalding is simply when hail strikes the shingle, dislodges the granules to expose the fiberglass undermatting. And that's what these marks that I am showing you here actually look like. Now, the way that they classify this damage is within a 10 by 10 foot square. When on each major slope, if you can find 6 to 10 of these marks, depending on the insurance company, then on paper, you gain the eligibility and a full replacement at insurance expense, of course, minus your deductible. Now, in doing corresponding spot checks, I'm not finding a ton of hail on this roof. And it definitely could be the fact that you've got trees in the front, very close house on both the left and the right to you. Now, most of these storms come from the south and the southwest. So in doing so, you can definitely see that that side would have the hail on it. Now, there's a few spots elsewhere, but I don't believe that it's a tremendous amount of hail on here. So maybe a 50-50 shot with hail. Now, a few other things that I want to point out is going to be that you have a lot of shingles where the entire shingle is actually lifting. So the thermal adhesive glue underneath these is no longer adhering to the shingle underneath. That's bad. The last few windstorms that we've had come off of this hill have been 95 to 100 miles an hour. If you remember the Marshall storm, the Marshall fire, they were 110 mile an hour winds. So definitely a problem with the winds that we get out here and that these shingles are not sticking down. Now, in all, it's not like this roof is in absolute terrible shape. But what I am noticing is that there are a ton of exposed nail heads up here that a long time ago should have been sealed. Now, all of this flashing that you have for these new skylights and beautiful Velux skylights, I love to see them. None of this is actually sealed down. So when that wind-driven rain coming off that hill gets that rain going underneath, you're definitely taking water on the inside. With that, I noticed that there's a big bowing spot going on right here. So this has definitely had water before that's coming in from that area and then running down. I believe that this decking is, it's not terribly soft, but it's definitely changed its shape. With that, before I leave today, I'd love to just go ahead and seal these flashings up. Just make sure in the event that, you do get any more rain, you're not taking water in before we can help you with the roof. So I really appreciate the opportunity to get out here and to bring you up to speed. Oh, one more thing that I want to show you real quick. Your boot jack over here is completely broken and brittle. That's been letting water in for a long while now. So I definitely think that needs to be fixed. It looks like it's had silicone around the top of it as well. So this has definitely been a penetration point for water in the past. Again, Andy Taylor with Red Rock Roofing. I love the property out here, and I want to thank you again for the opportunity to get out here and to bring you up to speed.